All right, so we'll get started. Kyle, just want to make sure you are unmuted, and Sam, you too. So if you could, if you guys could both speak, let's just make sure we're good there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Kyle.
Yep. You hear me?
All right, excellent. Okay, so we do want to we want to hear from you today. We're going to talk about your training plans that you guys went over.
Can't hear Joe.
Say again. Can't hear me. Yay!
Uh-oh.
How did I mute myself?
He's frozen.
I'm frozen. Am I unfrozen?
Yeah. There you are.
Am I back?
Mm-hmm.
I'm dancing. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Holy cow. Wow. Anybody tired of this yet? No. So we want to go through with you guys. We want to talk to you about your training plans that you come up with, and also talk to you about what to expect as you now foray into doing your case studies and put together your training plans. So we'll talk about that a little bit. We've posted some stuff in Classroom already to help you guys, to give you examples of what to look for. And I'm also talking to Adam Seipel of EdTech Team tomorrow, who is going to help me. He's going to kind of, when we review an application, since this is the first time we're doing this, he's going to review the application for us to make sure that we're validating what we're doing. Because we want to make sure that if we tell you to hit that submit button, that you're good to go. And I want to talk to you about my sample application and what it looked like a little bit later. I mean, we all need some happy news. So Brian Finnegan reached out to me today. He had a son yesterday. He was like, I'm not going to be able to be at the class today. Is that okay? And I was like, dude, are you serious? Like, of course it's okay. So even though he's not on here, congrats to Brian and his family. I said he should name his son like Google or something like that, but he really wasn't into it. One of his sons' name is Luke, and unfortunately, I don't remember the other one's name. And unfortunately, I don't know which one's which. But Brian did just have a baby, so happy thoughts to Brian and his wife. They just got home today. So there's a reason why you're not going to see his headshots. But he was very apologetic of that, and he wanted everybody to know that, he wasn't going to be here, and he wishes everybody well as you fill out your application. So I wanted to make sure I passed the word along. Okay. And then, we got our buddy Demeglio in the corner, our bright shining star.
Rolled my eyes so hard at you.
I couldn't resist.
No, I wouldn't be able to see you because you don't have your video on.
Yes. So, I mean, we put her in the bottom there. This is what we're going to go over. We're going to ask you guys for just a moment. On slide number 4, if you click on where it says the judgment, you're going to see a Google form with everybody's headshots. We will share those results with you. So please feel free to go on and click through and give your fellow classmates your seal of approval as to which headshot you happen to like. So if you could just take a minute to do that and then reconvene here, and we'll talk about some additional stuff that we're going to be working on.
Which one of Caldwell do you think they'll pick?
It's such a hard decision.
Very hard decision. Again, as soon as you're done, you can come back to the presentation. Okay. So
Are you going to show the results, Joe?
Yeah, we can do that. Sure. Let me actually pull up the form. It's in the, it's in the folder, I believe.
Yep. I sent you the link earlier.
Yeah, let me just I'll pop in the folder.
I mean, there's only 8 responses, 11.
All right, we'll give people a little bit more time. No problem. Headshots. Here we are.
Bottom. Got a couple that are really close.
I enjoy some people took like their school picture and snapped a shot of it. That's always a bonus.
We all got to take ours against the same brick wall on a very gloomy day. I think it was Cinco de Mayo. We actually had to take our pictures.
Yeah, it might have been Cinco de Mayo. Yes.
And I was very pregnant. I mean, when wasn't I?
Why are you dancing in front of me? What can I help you with? I'm in the middle of a call. Okay, I'm in the middle of a call. So goodbye. Go outside. Play wiffle ball. Good. Play more wiffle ball. It's a doubleheader. Game 2. Go ahead. Okay.
I want to go play wiffle ball.
You know what? I want to go play wiffle ball too. I haven't played wiffle ball in a million years. Okay, so the responses. We have our little pie charts here. Oh, Brittany, overwhelmingly, people are choosing number 1. We will also share your responses. I mean, again, if you go with your gut and you decide to choose a different one, go right ahead. You can also be the tiebreaker if you want to crowdsource this and put it out on Facebook like Miss Winhill did, which I thought was pretty cool this morning. Ask your family and friends. Again, don't need to, but it's definitely something you might want to do if you want the opinion of your peers and your friends and family and stuff like that. Mr. Caldwell, 100%
Wow.
one. That's awesome.
Clear winner.
Wow. Clear winner. Very good. Joshua, very good. I like the one with the headphones, I have to admit.
I picked that one too.
I like that one too. All right. Those are pretty much, we'll definitely share the results with everybody so you have them. Uh-oh. Erica's going to have a tough choice. She's 50-50. Very good. So you do use your Google Trainer headshot for branding, for different things that you wind up doing and applying for within Google. So they do want you to submit your headshot with your application. I want to talk to you a little bit about your application. Now, this is the document that you have. You have one that's a little bit different, a little bit altered because it's one that we put together for you guys. But this is the one that I did from Ed Tech team when we were at our meeting. And these are some of the things that we did and what we looked at. So again, I put together, if you go back here, you have to fill out your education, your classroom teaching experience. I guess, again, some of this has changed because it was done 2 years ago. How many years of formal training do I have? What are I have to give 5 Google specific trainings. Now, notice the dates. I tried to be specific with the dates, but you really could say May of 2018. I've also posted a copy of this actual application in Google Classroom. And I think the other trainer is going to do so as well. So you have a baseline of what to do.
Yeah,
All we did, say again?
I just found mine, so I'll post it.
All I did was say we did a Google Slides question and answer session where I focused on the question and answer feature. I talked about creating a class brochure, and I did training for language arts teachers about how to use Google Docs. It could be small group. It could be large group. It could be something a lot of you taught at Tech Academy. It could be something you taught at Tech Academy. It could be something that you did for students. I know Kelly Ivan asked about, could this be something you did with parents? Absolutely. You don't need feedback from these trainings. Okay? You just need to mention that you did these trainings. Okay?
How long ago can the trainings go back?
I believe it's 1 calendar year.
Okay.
Okay?
So Tech Academy last year will work.
Yes, it would. Basically, anything from the end of last school year to now would work. And it's Google or any Google product. So if you did something on an extension, if there's anything that you have done in the last 12 months, like I'm looking at like some of the people on my screen, like I'm looking at Monica and Danielle, like you guys might have done stuff in your buildings already. So you might already have a stockpile of trainings that you've done already. So you'll look here, and actually if you look, I went all the way back to, I'm going to double check the dates and see if they've changed it. because I listed as far back as October 10th of 2016 when I did a Google Classroom training at Professional Development Day. I applied in May of 2018. So that's roughly 18 months. So I'll double check and see when the actual time frame is. So if you've done anything for any Google product, Danielle, we might be able to use those parent meetings we did as an example. Like we talked about Google and Google Classroom and Google Docs. Like we did a small amount, on the honor system, we know we did that. So you could list that as a training. You'd want to list the names of the trainers that referred you to the program, which would be all of us. You did not work with a partner in this case. You just worked with your school district. All this is going to be posted here, and I'll also put in some comments and some notes to help you as you go through. My training goals were just listed. You might have yours in paragraph form. I also have the images of my level 1 and level 2 certificates, so I've remembered to submit them. These should be one of the key things that causes people to not be accepted is they send all this stuff, but they send it and the links can't be seen by people outside the organization. So to be safe, just make everything public. Make copies of it and just say everything's public on the web. Anyone can find it. And then you're guaranteed for the evaluator to be able to find your stuff. Okay? You'll need to go ahead.
Hey, Joe. Jess had a question. It says they don't need surveys or feedback. I think that is just for when you are recertifying every year. So for the past, we applied in May of 2018. So in 2019, when it rolled around, we needed to provide feedback for every single training that we did. And then same thing when we applied, because we had to reapply for our certification in January of 2020. So we needed feedback for every training that we did in 2019. So moving forward now, we don't need it, but you guys need it for your initial application, right?
They don't need feedback for the 5 trainings that they're doing to prove that they've done Google. What they do need in their case study, which I just scrolled down to on your screen, that's where you need specific feedback. That's where you're going to say, and I gave you my case study on exactly what I did, what the focus was, and what actions did I take. And all these bit.ly links, I believe, are still active. So you can see all of my feedback and data that I gave them when I applied to be a trainer. Okay? Go ahead.
She also asked, should you use your school or personal Google? Use your personal Google. Whatever you used for your level 1 and level 2, it should be the exact same.
Yeah.
Just to get your trainer status, and then obviously you can put it on your school Google account that you're a certified trainer.
Okay. So again, we want you to have a baseline to look at. This is exactly what you're putting into the portal to apply. So by doing this, when it comes time to apply, it's literally copy paste. And it'll take you 5 minutes to put everything in. But this part is the meat and potatoes of everything. It's really that case study that I invite you to read through and look at my links and see how everything's worded. The one thing you're doing is you are reflecting on, just like any good teacher would do, after you do a lesson, you're going to look at, okay, what do I need to reteach? What would I do differently for this lesson? And that's what you're doing based on the feedback that you've gotten. Where I might have wanted to provide a video demonstration of how this is properly used by students. I know one of my weaknesses is that I talk too quickly and go through things quickly. And that was implemented, that was mentioned on the feedback. So I need to slow down. So those are things that I reflected on and said, I could do this the next time I did this. Here's how I would change my teaching and instruction. So that's essentially what the trainer application looks like. Okay. And I wanted you to have that. So this way, as you're planning your case studies or you need additional trainings, you know what to look for and exactly what to do. So we're going to be offering some times, and the slots are going to be limited, but we're going to be offering some times the week of May 11th through 15th, where you could sign up and say, okay, I'm going to do a 20-minute presentation on how to start a Google slide or how to start a Google site, or I'm going to do a 15-minute presentation on, the 3 extensions that you can use in Google Slides, or how to add a YouTube video into a Google form. So you could show people how to do that, and we're going to have Mr. Callahan send an email blast out to everybody and say, hey, these are trainings that are going to be offered by prospective Google trainers. We need you to come and watch what they're doing and give them feedback. We'll set up a Zoom link for you, give you control of the room, and you can present and do your part of your case study, or if you need additional training during that time. So we're going to get that together in the next week or so, and we'll pass that out. We'll get that out to everyone. We're also going to be available on Monday, the 11th, from 12 to 3 in a Zoom meeting for all of you. You decide you want to take that trainer skills assessment exam during that time. You could pop into the Zoom if you have questions. We'll make ourselves available. If that time doesn't work for you, just reach out to us and tell us what you want. If you want to do it at a different time, if you're like, hey, this Saturday morning, I'm going to do it from 11 to 2, we'll make sure that somebody's around to help you through any questions that you may have. That is a 25 to 30 question multiple choice exam. There are no scenarios that are attached to it.
It will not take you 3 hours.
It will not take you 3 hours. Oops, sorry. Why did this pop up? Hey, job posting. Okay. All right. So let's see. I know some people are responding in the chat. Okay. So why don't we, before we move on to something else, why don't we address any questions that you might have for I know Vinny Romano the other day, had questions about the trainings and stuff like that. So if, raise your hand if you have anything you want to ask now about the trainer application, about additional trainings that you need to put out there. Go ahead and do that.
Erica, the answer to that is yes. You can do the test now and then do the application later. So we took our test on May 4th, I think. I didn't actually submit my trainer application until June, like the end of May, beginning of June.
I
participated, Joe, if you're looking at Vinny Romano's question.
Yeah, Vinny, that's a great question, and one I don't know the answer to. I'm going to actually pop in right now because he normally gets back to me pretty quickly. I'll ask Adam and see what he says if there's a minimum number. I have a feeling he's going to say the more participants you have, the better. That's not really an answer, but if you have a robust sample, that may help.
I think mine was only, I had one sample group and it was only 3 or 4 students that did the feedback for that. And you do need to register, but it's a free test. So we were able to register when we were sitting there and then take the test right away. I don't know if you have a certain amount of time, 7 days. Do you remember that, Joe?
I don't, Sam, I don't know if it's free because I think we might have been given a voucher code because we were at a training. I'm not sure. That I don't remember.
Okay.
Sorry.
Trying to look that up now. I don't remember either.
All right. I asked Adam. Let's see what he says there. Sorry, I'm going back and forth between my windows. Okay. I don't see anybody else with their hands up. I don't know if anybody else has any questions. You're welcome to, and I know it's hard in this setting, but you're welcome to, log in with someone and also give us your Zoom code. If you're let's say the 2 teachers are going to team up and be working together and take the exam at the same time and share information. Remember, you can take it with multiple devices. You can take it with any information you have. We have a review flippity thing that's kind of like a Jeopardy board that we can give you to work through some of the questions. I wouldn't put too much I wouldn't stress too much over that exam, because I think most of the stuff we're going to give you is going to be helpful in regards to the reviews that we have. Okay. All right. Why don't we take a moment to go through last week's training and design practice? I don't know if Jamie popped on at this point. That is a no. Okay. Do I have any group that wants to jump in and talk a little bit about their training and design practice that they came up with? By the way, we did look at those, just so you know. And they were really good. You guys really put together some nice plans, and we really would like to take some time to discuss them. So if there's any group, or we can go alphabetical, and we could start with Team Awesome. If somebody from that group wants to be the spokesperson and maybe speak about what they came up with and why they came up with
I'll take the reins on this. So we were Team Awesome, and we had Google Forms. We had to talk about all the aspects behind that. Now, ironically, in order for us to understand how well others know about Google Forms, we needed a Google Forms for that information. So we started off with a pre-survey. Then we went into some details on how to make the assessment, settings you can use, and the responses, like how to analyze your information. And then at the end, we had yet another Google Forms with the same survey of what do you know, how familiar you are with this information, and things of that.
an exit ticket, so to speak, right?
Yes.
Okay. I kind of want to bring up that. You'll give me a second to bring up that document. Anybody else from the group have a comment on that?
Yeah, I'll say something. So I felt that, so how do I say this? So it's interesting, this case study, because in order to teach Google Forms, we use Google Forms. So we try to get as much not only for our own assessment, but also to get as much practice for them to use Google Forms and explore its features as much as possible. We implement a lot of Google Forms in order to teach Google Forms.
Yeah, so I'm bringing up their case study here. There are other stakeholders that you probably would need to get in touch with. But the other thing, I think the big one there is that a lot of teachers still try to use the add-on Flubaroo, and they don't know that if you just make it a quiz, it kind of grades it on its own. So those are some things just to keep in mind when planning a training like this. And also you're using the tool to describe how to use the tool. That's the challenging part of doing this particular scenario. Okay. And Flubaroo sucks. Thank you, Brittany. Okay.
Hey, don't hate on Flubaroo. I love it.
Okay.
I need it for the 8th grade tech exam every year.
I got you. I just thought it was funny that she's like, Flubaroo sucks. Calling you out again. Okay, very good. So let's go to, unless there's another group that wants to volunteer and talk a little bit about what they came up with. We will go with Team B.
Okay, that's us. We were Team Brilliance, and we had, implementing Chromebooks into your curriculum, and how would you present that to your staff. So Chris actually had a really great idea, taking high school experience and making it a full year's worth of implementation. So let me just pull up the slides really quickly, but we really needed to use a Google form in order to, gauge the level of knowledge and what teachers already knew. And
Jess, hold on 1 second. And I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to make you host so you can bring your slides up. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Let me do that real quick. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I'll do that with the remaining groups too, so you have them up. I should have done that already. I apologize. So, where are you? Okay.
All My computer is I almost threw it out the window today. I had to restart my computer in the middle of my Zoom meeting this morning. So I apologize in advance.
No problem. You're the host. You're in charge.
Okay. So here we go. Slides. Let's bring this up. So here we go. Okay, sorry.
That's fine.
Let's I sing little songs and wait for my computer to load. Okay, so we kind of figured that this would be like a year-long implementation. So we've kind of broke it into phases. So first day of school, like we would meet with our team, and that would just be a pre-assessment form on Google Forms, just to give us an idea of what we were working with staff-wise, of what kind of prior knowledge they had of G Suite and of using Chromebooks. And then as the year progressed, the trainings would be really tailored to breaking them up into groups of who knew a lot, instead of putting everybody all in one giant group, of really tailoring it to who needs the most help and who, maybe could be using some enrichment. So we kind of just broke it down that way, as at the beginning of analyzing the data, to kind of break it up into making it as useful of a PD as we possibly could. Because if you already have a lot of G Suite knowledge, you don't need to know how to, use a Google form, because you probably use them all the time. So we tried to make it as relevant to our district, because we kind of use the formats of the September and October, and then following up throughout the year with the PD, with the post-assessment at the end of the year, to see how much more we would need to follow up with any of that, as well as links that we would become available, and the quick links to Google in case you didn't want to talk to us and you just wanted to go through it on your own. So that was our Chromebook integration PD.
That was great. Yeah. So, and who was the high school? I'm sorry. Who was the high school person on your?
Chris, what's his last name?
Tulowitz.
Yes. He was great. He's not here.
Chris isn't here. No, he is here. Hey, Chris.
Oh, he is. Okay,
Hey.
good.
So, Chris, when you guys, if I can ask, when you guys went to Chromebooks at the high school level, like how much, did you spend a lot of time getting training on the physical devices, or no?
Not really, but we did a lot of Google Classroom stuff before the Chromebooks came around.
Yeah.
We've been talking about Google for like 6 or 7 years now, it seems. And then the Chromebook showed up. We had the basic knowledge, but then we didn't go from that. This was more of what would the best thing have been to do if we were to do it all over again?
Exactly. So I see Wendy laughing. I don't because yeah, a lot of times we ready, fire, aim it, and we just kind of throw the device at the problem without, and teaching in a one-to-one environment is a shift in a pedagogical approach. It's completely different than teaching with pen and paper and textbooks.
Yeah, I would say our biggest problem was that they taught us Google Classroom and all this Google stuff before they told us we were getting Chromebooks. So a lot of people didn't buy into it or didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it because they didn't know it was going to be so useful. And then the Chromebooks came, but they already assumed that the Google Classroom stuff was good. And then it just kind of steamrolled from there.
Yeah.
And then in the elementary level, they offered everybody iPads or Chromebooks, and everybody was like, "Ooh, iPads," and not realizing the amount of, material and things that you can do with the Chromebook in the elementary level, and how much maybe more beneficial I feel like it is. And now every elementary teacher has an iPad, and I wish that I would have gotten a Chromebook instead. So
yeah,
it's kind of like the cart before the horse.
No, but that's why one of the reasons that I really liked your presentation that you filled out, because it was in hindsight, like, okay, we've done this. I had a conversation today with Kendall Ali, the new math supervisor that took over, I guess, beginning of this year, or the end of last year, whatever it was. I don't remember when, but we were talking a little bit about iTunes U and the 8th grade math curriculum. And we tried to make iTunes U something it wasn't. We tried to round peg, square hole it, and it just doesn't work. So, it needs to be shifted or changed, but we don't know that without the knowledge that we have to realize it's not going to work. So it's hindsight being 2020. So, all right, very good job, Team Brilliance. Now, if we can go to Team, what was the next one? Team, help me out here, people. Just closing out one of my many windows.
Crusaders.
Crusaders. Team Crusaders. All right, so let me, who needs to be host on this one, and I will make somebody host. Whoever's the person on Team Crusaders that's going to lead the charge.
How about Brian F? You know, since he has so much time on his hands now with the new baby and all.
Ryan F might be changing some diapers right now. He thinks he's a little busy.
You can share my screen. Sorry, I was just pulling it up so I had it ready.
That's no problem. It doesn't matter. It's all good. All right, we're going to make you the host. Okay, got it. It's all yours.
Okay. So we had the basics of Google Docs for first grade teacher. And the first thing we kind of thought was, like, what could a first grade teacher use Google Docs for? So we figured she'd probably use it to, you know, it's first grade, so I'll probably add pictures and then have them write in text boxes. So we kind of taught the really actual basics of it. So we started by how to make a doc, just in case she wasn't aware of how to. And then we added a lot of pictures. And then this is creating it, how you can change settings in it, inserting an image. And this is continued, how you can change the text wrapping on it. And then this is how to add a text box, which we thought was most beneficial. Up, can you see the arrow when I'm pointing? Or no?
Say again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Arrow?
Yeah, we can see it.
Up here, it's a video. So it's actually step-by-step in a video of how to add a text box and what it will look like for the kids too once they're able to write in it, which we thought would be most useful for her in first grade. And then this is the Explore button. We also added a video down here of how to use the Explore button, and then how to share it with the kids once she was able to. I think that was it. Yeah, but we kind of try to use it very basically, just because it's like, so they're not going to be writing 5-paragraph essays in first grade. So we just kind of wanted to give her the basic functionalities of Google Docs so she's able to use it with her kids easily.
It also said it in our study that the teacher was pretty apprehensive, so we tried to keep it as baseline and basic as possible, just so that there were no questions. So we didn't try to add more than we needed to. We figured inserting pictures and text boxes was a good place to start, and then you can go from there, because that's a skill that you can actually teach to a first grade. So.
Yeah. By the way, we like marveled at this one. By the way, I don't want to make this an ass kissing competition, but the four of you did a fantastic job. This could that could go into practice right away, and could literally be something that you guys make into your case study. Like, you could literally take that presentation and then use it to give your trainings in your case study to staff members in your buildings. It was a really good job. It really was. It's an excellent example. It's got lots of video. It's visual, which I'm not making an elementary school teacher joke, but elementary school teachers like that. They like things to be visual. They like it to be colorful. No, it's just true, and it makes it it's really good that we have so many elementary based teachers here, because I think that the earlier we start with Google and using Google products, even down to first grade, the easier and more these kids are going to learn as they translate themselves from one grade to another. And thank you, Danielle. And lots of Comic Sans. Lots of Comic Sans. No, that is a fantastic job. You guys should pat yourself on the back for that one, because you did a really nice job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
So, and yeah, really think about using that as your case study. I really think it would be something like, hey, I'm going to give you guys a training on how to use Google Drawings and Google Docs with your first graders. And I think your coworkers are going to get excited to do that, either at the end of this year or the beginning of next. I think you'll really hit some people that are going to take it and put it right into practice. So nice job. So let's go with group D. Sorry, I don't know the name.
Dynamic.
All right. That's Monica's group, right? And who needs to be host on this one? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, Jill. I can do it.
Sure. I'd like to state for the record that I did not email your mother at all this time. Last time in Google.
She got enough emails the last boot camp.
I know. Yeah, I'm sure. I emailed her mother like 8,000 times.
Too bad she didn't actually go through the training. She probably could be certified right now.
I know, right? Okay. I got to get myself plugged in so I don't die.
All right, let's give this a shot.
Okay,
Oh.
and you are now the host. You should be good now. Give yourself a second.
Okay.
All right.
No problem. All right, can everybody see that? So our case study was all about a teacher in high school, 10th grade teacher. He is getting a bunch of Chromebooks, and the new online curriculum is using Google Classroom. So what I loved about this scenario is that we needed to know that he was retiring in about 2 years, so we know how reluctant teachers may be in that time frame where to learn anything new or out of the ordinary. So we figured that we would just kind of do like a basic in and out of the Google Classroom, all the ins and outs, and try to keep it as basic as possible. So let's see if I can just go through. So we just did our basic slides, had the bio slides. On the agenda, we just kind of wanted to go through creating the classroom, how to post assignments, whole class and individual, adding from the Google Drive, keeping your classroom organized by topics or subject, providing feedback, and then at the end we figured we can leave all the other things and other ways that you can use Google Classroom and what you can do with it. So each of us just kind of took a slide section, and we thought we would use screenshots and infographics to kind of really help the teacher visually see, especially since they're about to retire and probably just want to get by and skate through the last 2 years. So I figured when we were discussing this, using the pictures and the visuals would be a lot better so that they were able to go by step through step. In our agenda, we linked all of the slides so that if they maybe just wanted to learn about feedback, they could click right on the feedback link and then be able to go right to our slide number 11, which will give them the ways to give feedback. We tried to keep it as basic and as friendly as possible. If anybody else from Team Dynamic wants to add in, now would be a great time.
I'm not sure if my internet's going to cut out. That's why I had my video turned off before. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, just like at the end, we didn't want to like overwhelm the teacher, especially if they're retiring in 2 years. They probably don't need to get too far into it. So we added that as a last slide, like what else can I do? If they're interested in other things that Google Classroom can offer, they can look there. But we also included links to some videos. I believe, Monica, I think it's on slide 10. We hyperlinked one of the pictures for them to be able to find a tutorial on how to add from their drive.
Right. And then down at the resources of slide 7, we have videos on how to create a new Google Classroom and getting started with Google Classroom, which brings them the videos right from the training center.
Yeah, this was another one that, you know, you could really put into practice. And what I really liked about it was that you really took what are the key things you want people to come away with really to heart, because the first part of this where you go over it and then you're like, oh yeah, and then we gave them extra links in case they want to do more. But the key part was like, here's how to keep it organized, here's how to upload from your drive, here's how to create topics, and that's all we're going to go over. But if you want to know more, you can. And that's what I think was really interesting about this. And again, a great thing to implement in regards to the case study. You know, looking for maybe, and this is the tough part, looking for veteran teachers who maybe have been reluctant to go to Google Classroom. Many probably have at this point. But, you know, I think this is another one that could definitely be used for that. That's why it was good for us a great activity that Jamie came up with. So, all right, let's go to our next group, which would be Danielle's group. So anyone from that group that'd like to to take over, let me know, and I'll make you the host.
I'll do it if that's all right.
I'm sorry, who said I'll do it? Was that Jill?
Jill.
I got you.
Yep.
No problem. All right. Sorry. Okay, you're all set.
That's it. All right. So our scenario was we are visiting a middle school and the team of 7th grade teachers wants to help design a multimedia lesson for cross-curricular project. It's a 1-hour training to help with a PBL style lesson. So the first thing I thought of, because I've done this before with English and language arts and science, is a hyperdoc, because, you know, especially 7th graders, you can trust them if you give them the resources, but a lot of times they're just going to say, I don't get it, or they're going to find Wikipedia. So we figured we wanted to put something together. So we created a basic hyperdoc that just goes through a driving question, how can people survive natural disasters? And then what we originally talked about was having, like, on one side would be language arts, one side would be science, and kind of showing that to teachers, showing that if you keep it rigid like that, you really can do anything and have it as organized as you want, depending upon how your kids are. So let me just find our slides. Okay. So after we created the hyperdoc, we kind of came up with the instructions for that. When you see a hyperdoc, can be really daunting because it seems like there's a lot that goes through it, but it's really not that difficult once you get into it. So we started off, whether you want to do it in a slideshow or you want to do a Google Doc, depending upon what you want it to look like, make it, name it, and then here are the instructions about how to include links, clips, boxes, charts, etc. So right here is how to, hold on, let me make this bigger. Excuse me. How to insert text boxes and tables.
So you're not sharing your slides at this point, Joe, just so you know.
Oh, I thought I was.
No worries.
Oh, no, I had to do it on that side. I'm sorry, guys.
No problem.
Let me just make this bigger. Sorry. It's really nerve-wracking when there's like 30 people staring at you through a computer screen.
Okay. It's okay. We could all just stare at Kyle and make him uncomfortable instead.
Okay, that works perfectly. Just listen to me, but watch Kyle. Okay, so your basics are how to include a text box and a table. If you're doing a Google slide, you depending upon what you want it to look like, you're probably going to just do a text box. But in a Google Doc, you'll do a table. You know, all your basic and most minimal instructions we could come up with to make it as easy looking as possible. How to add, change, or remove hyperlinks. There are instructional videos. How to embed hyperlinks in photos. Again, especially for 7th grade students, you want to give them, I don't know how many other middle school teachers there are in this, but as a continuously struggling middle school teacher, I am always trying to fight with my students that I'm giving you these resources, you just have to use them. So you're doing the same thing for these teachers too. You need to impress that on them.
21 years in middle school, that never goes away. So.
Oh yeah, never.
I mean, if you want me to sugarcoat it, say, oh, it's going to be amazing. I will, but it's not. No. And it goes away.
We have how to embed videos, how to find and share your Google links, and then how to force a copy. This one's kind of a big one, especially if you are for 7th graders. I'm going to give them those resources, but they really should have the tools to be able to make their own copies and put them in there. Put the their links in the assignment to keep the hyperdoc going. We said it in our scenario sheet that we would really just, it's hard with adults in something like this where it's all on one piece. You can't necessarily go in and assess them, but if you break them into small groups or things like that throughout the training, or you pair them up ahead of time by gathering that data, this would probably go a lot smoother. I don't know if anybody else in my group wants to add anything.
Anybody else? All you gotta do is unmute yourselves and pop in. Okay, so we'll move on to our next. Oops, sorry, go ahead.
No, I said okay, thanks.
Okay, cool. So we'll go on to our next group, which is going to be group number 5, which is going to be Team Elevate. So whoever from Team Elevate would like to present and show their slides, let me know.
Elevate just went. We're looking for Fearless.
Oh, sorry, Fearless. Yeah.
All good.
That's us. I'll do it.
All right.
Thanks, Erica.
You're welcome.
You are now the host.
Okay, so let's see if I don't mess this up. All right, so let me click on the right thing first. All right, so let me get to the beginning. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, so for our project, our scenario was that we were the trainers and that there was going to be 10 sessions and school was going to end early, and we had to monopolize 1 hour to teach different courses in Google to help teachers get their level 1 certificate. So we created this. First, we started this out with telling us a little bit about who we are, similar to the way Sam, Joe, Kyle, and Jamie do. After that, we decided that it would be a really good idea to start with an icebreaker, since this would be our first time meeting with everybody as we're the trainers. We decided to get an icebreaker just so everybody can get a feel of who's in the room and where everybody is, how much experience they have versus not.
Where'd you guys snag your template from? It's really cool.
The black and the green?
Yeah.
That was there, I thought, when we started it. Erica was there. I thought that was there.
Slide Carnival.
Oh, you did?
Slide
okay,
Carnival.
Yeah. That's a great resource if you've never used it. They got a lot of templates in there. I mean, soup to nuts, superhero ones, and all sorts of different things. So that's really cool. I like that's really nice. I like that one. It's professional. It fits with what you're doing. So that's just aesthetically, I just thought it would be good to mention that. So it was a really nice job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The next thing, well, besides we had to go, what today's schedule was, we had to give an overview of what all 10 of our classes, 1 hour class sessions would look like. So we broke them up. We had, for the today's session, we were doing Google Chrome and search, then Drive Docs, Sheets, Slides, Forms and Drawing, Classroom, Gmail, Calendar, YouTube, Google Sites, and then lastly, Hangouts and Groups. We decided that we were going to start this off. We needed a pre-assessment to see how much everybody knew. So we created a Google form. They will take a Google form on it. Does anybody want me to open it up or just keep going?
It's just basically it's our level 1 test. You know, some of it's like, all right, what do we use calendar for? And then there's 4 options. It's anyone can click on it if they need it. And like I said in the chat, if anyone wants to use this for the future, any of this, I mean, I think it's open, fair, copy that document. I'm okay with it. Or you can copy our slide. But also, Joe, I have a question also for Sam, Kyle. When you do I think we talked about this last week, but when should we separate them into novice and like advanced groups? That's what you think we should do instead of having it. You should have it homogeneous, not heterogeneous, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you can, I mean, think about it yourselves, right? Like when you're sitting there in a training and then, you know, you are learning about stuff that you already know, you know, what do? You tune out. So, I mean, by all means, if you can level it, go right ahead. But sometimes, you know, I know we talked about this. I think Wendy might have brought it up in the chat. You know, it's hard because of time and the amount of time we have for PD and the schedule that we have available to us. You might not be able to do that. So, I mean, if you can, absolutely. But I think that's always going to be a struggle.
And a lot of times going into the training, you don't know where they're at. So you're kind of, not that you're winging it, you have everything, but then you notice if it's higher, you kind of push them, and if it's lower, you really slow down.
Right.
And
because you're talking about like a one-time training. This is like a 10-week course, so I think that after the first course, the first session we'd be able to split them up into.
Yeah. And the one time we
And I-
tried it, and I don't think it really went that well, because some people either didn't agree with where they were.
Yeah.
Other
That's
people
always
just wanted to, were taking it with their friend and felt more comfortable that way.
Yeah.
So
I think too with the way that the scenario was presented to us, it didn't make it like, it made it seem like the teachers didn't have a choice. They had to go to this. So I think that's why it was important that we did the pre-survey on how familiar they were with things, because they didn't get a choice. They had to kind of go to it.
And also, like you said, going back to the timing, our scenario had it slated. So we only had, we had 10 sessions, but we also only had 1 hour. If this was our very first session, you need that icebreaker because everybody needs to get to know each other. And then by the time we introduce it and give the task, the session was going to be over. And then we had to move on to another topic the next time.
Yeah. No, it's again, I think it's a really good, I like the idea of surveying people, because then you'll be able to figure out if you're going to split them up into groups or not.
And then, okay, I don't know, Brittany or Eric or Vinny, did you have anything else to say? Otherwise, I'll go on. I just didn't want to cut you off.
No, it's okay. You can go on to the next part.
All right. So our next part, we decided to create an assignment. The assignment is just it's a hyperdoc. It introduced what Google Chrome is, and we give a few questions that we want you to answer about Google Chrome. And then there's two more questions, or 2 more sections in the hyperdoc. It's on Google search. The first one on Google search is basically, it's from Google, and it was actually pretty interesting. I don't think I've ever seen it before. Maybe I missed it over in the training center, like accidentally, like in the past, but it was really like breaking down the algorithm and how Google generates your searches and how it's different for you versus somebody else. It was only like 1.5 minutes. We were having them watch that. After that, they answered some questions based upon search, and then we took it a step further and we did the advanced search. There was several things online that could have been used. However, some of them didn't really cater for basically, lack of a better term, searching in the United States or searching appropriate to what we were doing. So we kind of just found what was on the internet, and then I made it and I kind of mocked it. So I did my own screencastify on how to search and use the advanced tools and how to filter and how to use the verbatim method. And that way.
Oh, did we freeze?
Yeah, I don't hear her anymore.
I don't hear her. I think she froze.
She might have.
Well, I'll just quickly wrap up. After that,
with the feature that way.
Oh, you back?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going on to the think, pair, share, but.
Okay. Yeah, I'm one more second on this one, and then finish it up, and then we added one more thing. So if you did feel really good with this task and you did finish for the day, it was kind of like a search. We gave you a criteria to narrow it down, and obviously you had to come up with a specific URL based upon the criteria that we gave you. It was based on climate change. Okay, I'm biased. I'm a science teacher. And lastly, the think, pair, share slide. Erica, do you want me to do this one, or do you want to do it?
No, this is Brittany's idea. But
this is Brittany's slide. I'm sorry,
okay.
Brittany.
And then we just give like a quick little 4-question feedback, like everyone else had, because we need it.
Yeah, and also Brittany made a really good point with this on how this is like an amazing, like that why question. So you think about how you learned what you learned today and how you can use it in your classroom tomorrow to really get you thinking about what we did and what we learned today.
Really good. I mean, I'm impressed by what you guys are putting together. I think it's a really great job. But at the same time, we also kind of put some holes in these scenarios on purpose, like 10 weeks. I mean, do you really need 10 weeks to do this?
Mm-mm.
And I think the answer to that is
It depends.
so. Yeah, you might look at it like your administrator might come and say, "Hey, it's going to be 10 weeks." Then you have to work into their schedule. But a lot of times we might adjust the time frame based on the amount of information that we're putting out there. So that again, that was another really good job. And I think it's finally that was our last group. That was Fearless. Okay. Did we miss anybody? I want to make sure we didn't miss anybody. Okay.
I think we have everyone.
Yeah. So this is all, like, all of these are shareable. Did you guys submit your slides? We submitted your slides.
They're all in the slide deck. This deck on slide 10, they all have the link.
Oh yeah, they're all linked to them. Okay, great. Okay, good. So I mean, all this, that's another thing. Like, we wanted to provide you with some things to start with. So, you know, if you're an elementary school teacher and you really like that one by team, which team was it? By Team Crusaders, you want to throw that one out there. And use that in your elementary school or with your teachers. Please feel free to do so. That's what it's there for. Okay. All right. So we've talked about headshots. We've talked about all that stuff. We're at just about 3 o'clock. I said we'd go to about 3:30, but we got done with that sooner than later. So we have a few more things just to discuss, and then we'll close out. Kyle or Sam, do you want to take the reins for just a second? Because we're on slide, where are we at here? I closed out my
We're on slide.
Slide 11 is just our headshots. Going back to the whole branding thing, when we had done our headshots, can you hear me clear enough?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I was on a delay. So when we did our headshots, they said that should be our Google image, that should also be our Twitter picture, and that it should all be the same, like the picture that we use in all of our trainings. So when we introduce ourselves in all of the slides, like those are the pictures that you see there. And then the videos of what makes you so googly. If you look in Google Classroom, it shows all of the trainer videos. So you can see all 4 of our videos there. It can't be more than 3 minutes. And what I suggest you do is, which I know Joe has said this in the past, when you're using Screencastify, make sure you put yourself in the bottom, like you embed your webcam in the bottom so that this way they could see you the whole time that you're talking, okay? So talk a little bit about yourself, then show something, and then wrap it up. It cannot be more than 3 minutes, so.
Yeah, I think Al had actually reached out when you went to the meeting in New York, Al. And was it Kiker? Dave Kiker, is that the guy's name?
Rich Kiker.
Rich Kiker.
Yeah.
So Rich talked about like 4 minutes is pushing it, but you can be over into 3 at this point, I think is what he said.
They were saying, they basically said don't go crazy with it. Even 3.5 would be okay, but it just depends on if you're rambling, if you are actually talking about something relevant. So I would agree with Sam. Keep it as close to 3 as possible. But if you go a few seconds over, they won't kill you for it.
Yeah. So we provided you all of our videos. They want you to look professional. They want you to be dressed. They want you to look nice in your video. They're looking for that stuff because you're representing Google and talking about their products and their services. So that's just important to keep in mind as we, as you get to the point where you're going to start looking at your video. You're going to see in Google Classroom, there is a quiz show Flippity review. So we're not going to go through that with you now, but you're going to see that there's some questions there that you need to know the answers to. And I would strongly suggest that when you do take the exam, that you use and have that Flippity available for you when you take the exam. We also want to say that there's no rush for you to apply. So, you have time at your disposal, of course, to do this stuff now. We're going to provide you're welcome to reach out to your colleagues. Adam Seipel from EdTech team did get back to me. A sample size of of 15 to 20 teachers would probably be enough. But the more you have, the better. The more feedback you have, the better for your case study. Also, I just wanted to double check for the 5 Google trainings that you have to do that you should have done. It's back 18 months from your date of application. So if you were planning on applying the beginning of June, your trainings need to be within an 18-month window back. Okay? So I think we could use those parent meetings, Danielle, those ones that we did. I think those dates were October, that you could probably use those if you were looking to apply this month. You know, there's no pressure in applying or waiting for September or stuff like that, especially if you would rather teach more things in person. But we definitely would like to see you guys, you know, I think that everybody that's in this room right now, and even those that aren't because they have other matters to attend to, could definitely apply and be done by the end of the school year. Okay. Okay. So I don't think there's anything else really for us to go over at this point.
There is one question in the chat, Joe. I don't know if you saw it. It's from Vinny. I don't know how to answer that one, so I was leaving that one for you.
There's 5 trainings that we don't need feedback for. And if you look at my sample application, Vin, you'll see that I listed the dates of like when I did them and what I went over. It's just a quick little sentence blurb. And then you're going to need feedback for your case study. The case study would have its own training session, just like you put there. So you would do your case study based on whatever specific function within a Google product or extension that you would like to go over. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any final questions about this? And by the way, just because we're like done with our classes doesn't mean like we're done. We want to check in with you. You're going to get emails from us. We want to know how your applications are going. We want to know how we can help. We need to expand our team here as Jess is scarfing down her lunch. We need to, yeah. We need to expand our team in district. It's, you know, myself, Kyle, Jamie, and Sam. We're not trying to be selfish and like do all the Google trainings. We need more people. Like it's evident by what's been happening. And we need to expand and find more people that are like-minded, like us, that really want to implement, you know, greater digital learning in their classes. I will double check, Ms. Shetty, about the Google logos, about using them on your slides. I believe you can. I don't see why not.
Did you mean the little Woodbridge logo that we made?
I don't think so. I think they mean do you mean like the certificate badges and stuff like that, Ms. Shetty? If you could maybe turn your audio.
No, actually, I was reading through like the Unit 5 Training Center where it said you had to have permission to use their logo in any form.
Well, when you sign when you get your badges.
So I don't know if you saw my trainer slide had like the G with my face on it.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to do that? I wasn't sure if we're allowed to use it then.
That's a good question. No, I don't know.
So,
you know, I actually, you know, it's funny because like I reached out to Jamie. I'll talk about this. I reached out to Jamie yesterday because like she had that logo that she put out there and she put it on Twitter and it has the word innovator on it. And I said, like, I don't know if you want to keep on it because there is a Google innovator. That's like the next step. And although she's very innovative and she's using that term to describe herself, like I wouldn't want anybody to like misconstrue what she's trying to say. I mean, if she wants to leave it, that's totally up to her. I mean, we put our badges in our emails, which essentially we're not supposed to be doing. But as far as like putting them on slides and stuff like that, I don't think that's an issue. I want to say I had them on my slides when I submitted if you look at my trainer video, you'll probably see them. If they're on my trainer video, then I would say use them. But as far as the one that you created, that I'm not sure. That I'm not sure of because that you took like the little creative license and made something cool.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, I'm speaking with Adam Seipel tomorrow. And I will, I'll ask him. I'll say like, hey, is this cool that somebody uses this? Like, or is it like a breach of intellectual property? You know?
All right.
I don't want you to get slapped with any cease and desist orders or.
I know.
We're teachers. We don't have any money. We're teachers. They can't sue us.
Okay.
they'll just turn off your Alexa, I think, or turn off your Google Home. They won't let you
No.
won't let you buy anything on Amazon. Yeah, and Wendy, I see what you're saying there, that they weren't able to modify the logo. So I don't know if, is that G a logo? I guess that's what we need to find out. But we will. We'll get you the answer. Okay. And George, I see the same thing there, but we're gonna ask about that, because a lot of people do that now. Like, they take their Bitmoji and they do something clever and cute, and they throw it out there. So we'll keep an eye out for you. Does anybody have any further questions about the application or anything else? Okay,
I have a question. Sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
So I know the district is starting, at least I got an email today, like we're moving from school wires, like, you know, we use school wires, and I think that we're moving to Google Sites. At least that's the information that I'm getting in my email. So like, would that be something we would be able to do as far as like a training, or like moving, like how to transfer stuff, or like basically how to create your own Google site and how to get the information from one to the next? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Sam, if you want to talk to that, because I know we were talking about that before with Miss Sperry and Callahan and stuff.
Yeah. So the district is moving over from school wires to Thrillshare and Apogee. It is making our site more mobile friendly. So there won't be any individual teacher pages just because of the cost of all of it. There is a way, though, that we can link all of your, if each teacher creates a Google site, there's a way we can link all of that to the new Apogee page, and that would be done by whoever runs the website at your school. So I run the website at our school for Avenel Middle School. So I'm right now doing all of the back end information on that. So I have to get everything ready, and they actually told us don't make any changes after May 15th. And if you want anything from your school wires, like let's say you have something on your school wires and you want to duplicate it to a Google site, you have to have it done by June 15th. So I know I see just
the May 15th date was for the school wires website,
yeah,
not your individual school wires websites.
Yeah.
Don't panic and think in the next few weeks you have to change anything, but like by the end of the school year, you know, it is something that's going to need to be addressed. And I hope the district is going to tell people that.
Miss Sperry actually did send out an email saying that we are switching and that you should get your Google site created. We actually, he just talked to school wires like a week ago, and they were like, oh, so we're renewing? And he's like, nope. So they don't know if it's going to be cut off June 15th or June 30th or whenever. So they highly recommend getting everything off of it before the last day of school.
Yeah. So Jess, if you're doing a training on Google Sites, you can use that as your case study if you got feedback for it, or that could be one of your 5 trainings that you did, which I'm sure some of you might have those 5 trainings done already if you go back 18 months. But think about it. It could be something like if you did something for your department or a small group of teachers, or you showed them how to use Google Forms, you can use that, okay? Make up a date and use it. Because we all know that we're doing these things. We just need to prove that we're doing them. So, I mean, I want to say it again. Like I'm so happy that all of you are here and decided to do this. And I think that you know, that our future looks very bright with a team like this put together. And we have things that we want to do with you guys once you become trainers. You know, we are in the process of talking with Mr. Callahan about like, well, what are we going to do with these people? How are we going to leverage them? And we want to leverage you. We want to have you, you know, reaching out to people in your buildings. Like I know some people in this group have already started doing so, getting people level 1 certified, getting more people using Google in your buildings, but also letting that translate into other schools as well. Because I think that there's a lot that we can do, and the momentum is just starting. So thank you for taking the time to be a part of this the last 4 weeks. We're not done. We're going to hear from us. We want to see you guys again. We want to know when you guys get accepted to be trainers. We want to shout it from the rooftops because we're really looking forward to hearing about all of your successes. So we'll check in about a week and see how your applications are going. And we'll make sure that we are there to support you with whatever it is you need. We will be there.
And I'm going to meet with the liaison team on Thursday. So once I hear back from them about how Callahan and Mascari want to move forward. Maybe we can all set up as like a group. Maybe if we break into smaller groups and you want to use that as one of your trainings and reach out to multiple different schools to say, hey, I'm going to be a Google trainer. I know a lot about Google Sites. This is what I want to offer for your staff, and set up times with the building principals.
Yeah. Don't forget, you can also reach out to your building principals for, training opportunities for your case study. Like, hey, can we organize a Zoom meeting and we have 20 minutes to go over something? And don't forget, you need a survey. You have to survey the group who attend your Zoom meeting training. So this way you have feedback on how you did, okay? And then reflect upon that through your case study. So we are here for you. We invite you to get in touch with us. For the love of God, Erica, from your mouth to God's ears, please, can we get Gmail? Like, seriously, our lives would be so much easier if we had Gmail right now. Like, there was it's so much easier. It's ridiculous. So, all right, you may log off if you like.